This is the Boy Girl Mom and Dad podcast, and this week it's just Lauren here. I am so happy to be with episode 50 with my friend Kimberly Dixon from Things in My Home. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Well, glad to be here.
Boy, girl, mom and dad here for the good times and the bad. From gender norms and stereotypes to making sure that the butts are wet. Boy, girl, mom and dad want grown-up time, you're going mad. It's a trip, but we'll guide you through with tips and tricks for boys and girls too.
Yeah, so you are a mom of 3 girls. Is your home empty this morning? I know it's back to school time in Texas already, but
Empty.
how's your home this morning?
Yeah, so my oldest is in kinder, so we took her to kinder this morning, but my younger 2 are here, and my husband works from
So
home.
fun. Because you're doing, are you doing like a homeschool pre-K with them?
Yeah, so actually my kindergartner, we ended up going with like a hybrid with her. So she goes to kinder Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the preschools around here, we're gonna put my middle in on Tuesday, Thursday, and I was like, what? Like we're gonna be on opposite schedules, so I just pulled her. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
try and do it
No,
at
that makes sense. Because this is your first school year in your new city. Well, it's old city for you, but also a new city at the same time.
yes, yep.
Yeah, yeah, fun. Okay, I'm so glad episode 50 is with you because you're well, my sister's gonna be like, she's not the person you've known the longest, but that I've had on the podcast besides my sister. And episode 50 is kind of like a milestone, and so I'm glad it's with you. Which also, you are technically my sister because we are sorority sisters, and that's how we know each other.
As they like days is that.
Yeah. Every week before we get into the meat of the episode, we have a Tiff. And so I kind of tailored this Tiff to you. And basically, you can agree or disagree or just voice your opinion and be neutral on it. And so this week's Tiff, I wanted to ask you your opinion on Oreos and if the serving size is 3 as the package says, or if you should eat more.
Sorry, repeat that again, that the sorting size is 3, like serving size.
Yes, the serving size is 3.
Okay, so my personal, like my stomach's opinion would be yes. After 3, I think my stomach would hurt.
What's
But
your
in
husband's opinion?
my husband's opinion, he, like I guess a pack is what, like a huge pack is like 4 rows. I don't even know
Yeah,
how many are in there. If I left it out on the counter, and especially if he was like at home alone, the entire thing would be gone.
that's why I asked you. 'Cause actually, I don't even know if you've shared this on your Things in My Home page before, but obviously on your personal Instagram because we're friends,
Yes.
about his love of Oreos. So I thought that would be a funny one. I actually grew up eating 2, but that's what my mom packed in my lunch. So I don't know. But
Well,
she
you
was
remember those,
very,
do you remember those like individual packs? Like they
yeah,
had it too. Yeah.
yeah. But also, I don't know if like things have changed with it since then because she was pretty much a like by the book of serving size to the point of, she bought us things that we wanted, but there are certain things that other people had that we wanted because other people had, and so, like the cosmic brownies, did you ever have those?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the serving size is 1. So like it comes with 2 in the pack, and then you're just supposed to have 1, and so she would cut it in half.
So this
And
is
this
kind of embarrassing. My mom was like the opposite. I don't think I knew what a serving size was until college.
well, I will say she didn't do it in like an unhealthy way, like we
Yes.
never like talked about like dieting or anything like that, and it was never restricted, but it was more so like this like moderation. And so I think, but I also didn't know necessarily about serving sizes either. I would just get to school and people would be like, why do you have half of a cosmic brownie?
You were like, oh, my sister got the other half. I
Yeah,
don't.
but also the same with Pop Tarts. I didn't know for the longest time that like 2 came in the bag because my mom would like get us our breakfast ready, and so if we had Pop Tarts that day, we'd have 1 on a plate, and it's because the serving size was 1. So I never knew until I saw other people eating like Pop Tarts at schools and like, oh, 2 come in the bag.
That's funny. No, honestly, I think that's healthy. I feel like my upbringing was like I didn't realize till probably college that eating those like chocolate covered donuts or the powdered donuts was not like
Yes.
nutritional breakfast.
Well, same. And like I've had that conversation with people too because like I have had a relatively, I'd say like good relationship with my body and food,
Yeah.
and I didn't until I went to college, and I would put I would I would go through, since I lived in Collins, I would have a sandwich most of the time for lunch, especially if I was like running to my next class, and I would get like a hoagie bread and like just put slices of cheese on it and put it through the toaster, and people would be like, "Why are you eating like a grilled cheese for lunch?" I'm like, "Well, it's a grilled cheese. I like grilled cheese, you know." But I
Yeah.
didn't know that I was what I was eating, and I still eat that to this day, but my eyes are really open when I went to school, especially like that was the first time I ever saw girls like counting calories and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of good to hear, and especially because you have a sister too. I have a sister.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, relatively, my relationship with food has always been normal or fine, not
Yeah.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that our upbringing, we didn't eat the healthiest stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I think it also was of the time, like our parents did the best they could with what they knew. But, at the time, the stores or whoever was pushing it was pushing like all the seed oils and things like that. So I think it
yeah.
was very much of the time. And I think I knew about whatever those protein shakes were that like people would eat, but we never had them in our house.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. All right, so I wanted to have you on today because I just feel like you're so inspirational. You're somebody who can do it all. Like I remember when I first met you, I was so impressed because you were a pole vaulter, and you did it in high school. Did you do it in college, or was that what you did at track and field in college?
That's what I
Looking
did. Yeah.
back for now. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Yeah, very inspirational, very cool. I feel like you don't just like meet a pole vaulter every day. But then I see you around your house and you're so handy and you can basically do or craft or build anything. All while you're parenting your three girls, Carlisle, Charlie, and Callie. And so I just wanted to have you on because I think you'll inspire other people too. So I remember you always wanted to be a mom. That's something that you just always wanted to be, even when I met you in college. And so what put that desire in you, and is it everything you hoped it would be?
Well, first of all, I think that's a extremely high compliment coming from you because I feel the same about you.
Oh,
I feel like you've had so many things too of like I remember like the bow ties
oh
and
yeah,
other things in college and afterwards. But so thank you.
yeah, for
And
sure.
also
Thank
I
you.
kind of it's so interesting to me that you remember like I wonder what I had said or maybe it was just like a conversation we had that you remember that like I wanted to be a mom.
I don't know. I have a really weird memory. I don't remember like a pinpoint
Yeah.
situation, but I just have a weird memory where I remember things specifically. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, and your question was that like, how is it going?
What put that desire in you?
Oh.
And then has motherhood been everything that you hoped it would be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what I can't again remember a point when I was like, oh, like I think I've just always wanted to be a mom. Like my middle, Charlie, she whenever you ask her what do you want it to be, it's like a cheerleader and a mom or a
I
doctor
saw
and
that on her little
yeah,
like first day of school, whatever thing you
yeah.
posted. It's so cute.
Yeah, so like I kind of wonder if I've always felt that way. And then is it everything? I think every mom would say it's everything I thought and everything that it's not. Like it's just there's so much more to it and there's things to it that you kind of like made up in your head that aren't part of it and yeah, I mean, I've loved every second. Like I've never been like, wow, what a horrible dream I dreamt of. But no, it's been great. It's a whirlwind. Like I can't believe that my oldest is in kindergarten.
I know.
I say if my husband hadn't gotten snipped so quick after the third, I'd be pushing for the fourth again, but that's not gonna happen.
Because you're one of three, and is he one of two?
Yes, yep, and he's a
Yeah.
twin, so
Yeah, yeah. Only twins.
yeah.
Well, and I also, again, my memory is weird, and I remember one day you had posted like constantly allowing another mess so that I could do something else. And it was like you were trying to cook dinner, and then there was stuff like poured all over the floor so you could like get one thing done. And I feel like that's motherhood in a nutshell, just because like you're just not surviving, because I think that has a negative connotation, even though there are times where I'm definitely feel like I'm surviving versus thriving. But I
Yeah.
feel like there are times where you're just like, it is what it is, and this what has to happen to get what I need done. So, Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Very
have,
relatable.
yeah, I'm gonna call my sister-in-law out. She doesn't have kids yet, and you talk to people that just don't have kids, and they're like, I just don't understand how you allow this mess, and I'm just like, and I like a clean house. Like I'm sure most
Yes,
people
yes.
do like a clean house, but I would be exhausted and my kids would be exhausted if I was constantly telling them to pick up their stuff. Or sometimes,
Yeah.
and we've started a chore chart and whatnot, but sometimes it is easier to just wait to the end of the day and like do it yourself. Or just like let them go play outside and you do it yourself. I don't like harp on any of that because it would be exhausting.
Yeah, I know you did post that what's it called, where a time lapse where y'all cleaned it up together, like their rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
And I do try to get the twins to like help me clean up, but there are sometimes where I'm just like after they go to bed. And honestly, it just needs a place. Like it doesn't have to be, I would love for it to look like super organized, but it just needs a place to go. And once I know the place, that's where it goes. We haven't publicly said this before, but well, I've said this part, but we lost our nanny of over 2 years because she got poached by a preschool. She had a new job. And so I've been trialing nannies. And the first person we trialed, I thought it was going to be a great fit for lots of different reasons, but I'm not going to list them just because I'm trying to protect their privacy. But I like to ask, like, do you have any feedback or do you have any like things about the kids? Like our nanny would give us a recap every day that she was with us and be like, this happened. And like, for example, we never talked about like if there was an issue with fighting or pulling hair or something, like we didn't talk about it in front of them. Like maybe we would go back and talk to the kids later about it, but it was more so just like an adult conversation so we know what they did that day, etc. And so that's what I was kind of looking for, or any like notes on how the kids were and how it was with her. And she kind of like didn't answer in person, and then she had to come back. She accidentally took my keys, and she texted. I said like thank you, and I was like, and let me know any feedback you have. And literally like this long on the text was about how basically I should be more organized, and the children won't thrive as well if it's not very organized. And I was just like devastated
Wait, can I
because
ask how old she was?
maybe like 35 to 40.
Okay.
And as a reminder, like I'm 33, so I would just say she was a little bit older than me.
Yeah. And
Um,
and that was like day one?
Yeah. And it was a week where Nick was out of town the whole week and our current nanny was out of town the whole week. It was like right after that. And so I was by myself, and I don't have, if you're new listening here, I don't live by any family, and so like I don't have help at all.
Right.
Even within really driving distance. And so it was like me against the world essentially, and I had actually felt proud about like what I had picked up because there was clothes and stuff on the ground. Um
Horrible.
I know. So anyway, I would love for things to be better organized, and I there would be a way to do it, but right now I wouldn't say we're surviving, but there have been aspects of this year, especially in regard to our kids' sleep, where we're definitely surviving. It feels
Yeah.
good today. I'm just sleepy. It's a Monday. I'm tired, but anyway.
I will say our house is the messiest when we're not getting sleep. Like, and I saw your story the other day about like the waking up in the middle of the night, and I would say my kids have gone through similar stuff, so I get it. Like, and when you're not sleeping, and it's like one of those things where like I don't think I have slept through the night in over 12 months. Like I've had those points too, and you're just a different person.
Yeah. Like I can't pick up the sock off the floor. I just can't do it. I'll do it later. But it's like old
Yeah.
me would be like, of course you can pick the sock up off the floor, Lauren. It's like so simple. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't do it right now.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that bending down like will drain some of the tank that you need for later.
Yeah. So as a mom of three, what's your favorite piece of advice for a parent who is going from that 2 to 3 that you've done? Or maybe they're going from 1 to 3, because I have had friends who go from 1 to 3. Oh, and I
Yeah.
can't forget my twin or multiples parents. So sometimes, triplet parents go from 0 to 3. But what is your I guess maybe the biggest difference that you noticed going from 2 to 3, and what piece of advice would you give a family about to be a family of like 5?
Yeah, I don't know if I can give advice for 0 to 3.
That's okay. I was just including them.
Rare. No, I'm kidding. But I actually found that going from 2 to 3, or I guess even 1 to 3 would be a little different. In my situation, going the 2 to 3 was actually the easiest transition because instead of you having to be one on, when you go 1 to 2, you're still number one's playmate and you have a newborn. So
Yeah,
then, like when you go to 2 to 3, they are playing together and it's just you and baby. And I just
yeah,
found that that was, and again, like it's got its hard parts, right? But it was a lot easier to like manage because they had each other versus like
yeah,
me having to be on the floor constantly to play or whatnot. My third was also very chill, which helps. But I mean, in that aspect, like having a playmate definitely makes it easier.
yeah. What is your best piece of advice for
Best
the
piece.
going to 3 kids? It
Coming
doesn't
from,
even have to be like revolutionary, but like what's
yeah,
like something maybe you wish you would have known going from 2 to 3?
wish I would have known. It's funny coming from me, you're probably going to be like, yeah, I would just say like chill out. Everybody needs to chill out. Just like,
Yeah,
just take, I mean, it's just not everything has to be so serious. Like we said, like not everything has to be organized. It's gonna be messy. There's gonna be, everyone's tired. Like give grace where you need to give grace to yourself and your husband, your kids especially.
yeah,
I think anytime you're adding a new human being, like you just I would say the first year, especially, maybe even 18 months, like everyone just needs to chill. It's not
Is
gonna be.
that is that also your biggest parenting tip in general for having 3 kids, or is it different? So that other question I asked was going from 2 to 3,
Yeah.
but once like in your life now, what would you say is your biggest tip like for the way your family looks now? Or it doesn't have to be different, but it can be.
Yeah. How it looks now. I heard something the other day that was said, we always focus on like our strengths, like lean into your strengths, like lean into your strengths. And someone the other day was like, well, what would happen if like those are already our strengths? Like what if, and this is like kind of advice, I guess, as a mom, like what if
Yeah.
you actually leaned into your like weaknesses? And I found that kind of convicting because I'm not really a scheduled person,
Yeah.
but like having an older one going into kindergarten and I was like, dang, I think I need to like lean more into some of my weaknesses. So like, I think it would help like schedule stuff out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess my advice would be I am constantly kind of like looking at where we can improve,
Yeah.
and not in like a type A way, but I
Yeah.
guess I would just put it like I'm like be constantly looking at how you can like improve your family because it's ever changing. So like in this
Yeah.
season, I'm like let's try and like work on some scheduling.
Yeah.
In the summer, like that obviously was not it, but I just think constantly like actually early in the summer, I had asked my oldest. I said, how can mommy? And again, this is kind of a hard concept, but how can mommy be a better mommy? Like what could I do that would like be better to like help you out. My middle didn't get it, and
Hmm.
my oldest said, "I think you could have more patience with daddy." And I was like, like,
Ooh.
and I was like, "That's a great one." So I don't know. I just think that like always checking yourself. Like no one's perfect, but some conviction is good sometimes.
Yeah, that's so interesting also that it didn't have anything to do with her or
No,
like her siblings.
mommy. Yeah. So I asked her for an example and just to, dig the knife a little deeper. And she said, when daddy goes to the bathroom, you're not very patient. And I was like, honestly, you're right. And but I think most moms could probably sympathize with that one.
Hey, you need to send them the episode that I did on pelvic floor because we talked about that and I specifically asked that question. And I actually don't really have that. I don't have that issue with Nick, but I know that a lot of people do. And
Yeah.
it's actually not good to be sitting on the toilet for more than 5 minutes. And so it's for his health that he shouldn't be doing that.
I'm going to
Um,
listen. Yes.
you should tell him that. It's for his health. That's what
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
Would you say, speaking of Alex, would you say that like what is your parenting style and is his different than yours?
I would say we've never had like an issue with like I think this, you think this. So I would say that we're pretty much on the same page.
Oh, good.
We're definitely not, this new buzzword of like gentle parenting. I wouldn't say that that's us. Um,
Well, but I want to make sure you know what that is because I actually, not to plug my own episodes, but I have an episode on gentle parenting because I didn't think I was either, and maybe you are not. But it doesn't mean there's no boundaries. It's like firm but kind, and there is like a version of it that's been labeled as gentle that's actually permissive, like anything goes. And so, not to
and I can
take
see
over
that.
your answer. And so I think that you have boundaries because you love your kids, and that's not gentle. It's just not what some people I think it is, which is more like permissive parenting.
Right. So I would say definitely not permissive. My
Yeah.
whole thing, even when they turn, like 18 months, probably at the youngest, is like if I see a behavior that I don't want to see when they're 5,
Yeah.
like as going into kindergarten, like we'll nip it so
Yeah.
that it doesn't like cause an issue. But I for some reason I knew that I didn't, and probably because I mean you see kids and how they act or whatnot, and they could be having a bad day. But I just knew I was like, there's behaviors that don't have to happen when they're going
Mm.
into kindergarten, and every
Yeah.
kid has bad days and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I really have tried to like stay on top of that. But like you said, like everything comes from love. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that I'm like overly hard on. It's funny, like I'm like I'm chill, and then I'm like I'm not. No, when it comes to discipline, like I feel like I just have really tried to stay on top of it. But everything
Yeah.
again, there's a loop, right? We loop around. It
Yeah.
all comes from love. We explain it.
And like we already talked about at the beginning, at the top of the episode, of like, sometimes we allow things that someone might deem like, oh, you should be disciplining for that. I'm like, no,
Right.
no, that's not worth my time or my battle. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't care. Let it happen. So I think it just depends on like
Yeah. And I mean
what it
that's
is.
like how beautiful. Like that's why like, all of us are so different, like as
Yeah.
people, because we're all raised different. If we were all raised the same, like God didn't
Yeah.
create us that way. So.
No, no. So you now have a kindergartner, like you said. Was there any way you like specially prepared for having that, or did you do anything to commemorate this like time?
I'd like to say I'm more sentimental. And I am. I did post the other day. I did find like I never did the baby books. Like I could just never keep up with them. But I did find this like memory book to where, you can write what their answers are on the first day of school. And I think it walks all the way to 12th grade of when you fill out the same questions
Uh-huh.
and like their birthday and pictures and stuff like that. I will
For
say
the
on the
record, my baby books are to the left of my bed in a pile with other things that I have not had time to do. So
you filled them out.
no, no. I mean, I started filling them out before they got here, but I have not filled them out. No.
Someone
I've
told me
also
one
never
time.
printed out pictures,
Oh,
except for some from like birth when I like mailed some or gave them to my OB. But yeah.
yeah. No, I will say, one of my favorite things though is about 2 years ago, I bought a Polaroid camera
Oh,
and I have them like from last year in my closet. And then from this year, I put them on the coffee table. Best thing I ever did, because I do pull it out at like special things like, kindergarten or all holidays. And we have all these like very cute pictures that would have never made it out of my camera. So that's probably the
I
only, sentimental.
Yeah, in that same pile is a Polaroid camera that my parents got me for Christmas that I have not had time to open or read the instructions. I'm sure it's
You should do
self-explanatory,
it. You
but
would like that. I feel like you would like doing that though. And it's so easy because
I
then
know.
it
I
only has
know.
7 pictures in it, and then when you run out, you're like, it's done. The memory captured.
No, I think about that a lot. Like, I need to even organize the pictures on my phone because I'm like, they're only 2.5, almost 3. Like it would be so easy at this, not easy, but easier than in 12 years, going through
Well, have you ever
going
thought
through some.
about the books that you can do online, where you
Yes.
put all the pictures? And
I've like
every year I'm
chat
like,
books is
I
one of
should
them.
do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
should do one. I should do one. And I agree. We're getting further and further away. Like we're not going to do it. Not going to happen. No.
Well, and even like I know some people, I think it's the chat books, the ones, it's like whatever you posted on Instagram, but I've found myself posting less on Instagram, and which is not great considering that is a way that I make money.
Right.
But it's almost like I'm pulling back because we went through this whole stage of, I don't know, I guess how long I graduated in 20 December 12. And so I don't know, it's been over 10 years for sure, but where we took pictures and then we uploaded every single photo online. And
Yeah.
I feel like the pendulum is finally swinging the other way of like I'm very particular about what I post. And
Yeah.
obviously if I'm doing a sponsored work or something like that, but I know people like to see the kids, but I just don't post them as much as maybe I once did. I was never like constant about it, but I've kind of definitely like pulled back. And so the chat books I know people like, but I think it pulls off of your feed, and like I don't need a book with photos of me photos of me in
Right.
it. But yeah.
Like one of the twins, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you just said kind of gave this answer, but I'm going to say it anyway. What's your favorite way to make and treasure memories? Like I know y'all took a beach trip this summer. You just mentioned the Polaroids. Do you have any other like favorite way to make memories? Could be around
Make
food.
memories. It's a good question. I would like to say we like to travel, but I feel like lately, I feel like y'all do a really good job of traveling with the twins. I can't say it's like my ultimately favorite thing. Um,
But we still have man coverage. You don't. You have
that's true.
you are 2 to 3, and that's also buying 5 plane tickets. So I
Right.
completely get it
Yeah.
as much as I can.
We do. I mean, one place that we have been consistently is to go to 30A. We do love, and my mom actually just bought a house down there or a
Oh, fun.
condo. So, for us, that's just like a 11-hour drive, which really, it's really not that
It's not
bad.
bad at all.
Yeah. So we do love going to the beach, and the girls love going to the beach. Um, Being in Waco, now that we're in Waco, and it's under a year now, I feel like we're still trying to like catch our bearings of like what to do, what do we, so I think in the next year, especially when it cools off, because it's honestly too hot to do make any memories right now. But yeah, I mean, I feel like too, I don't know if you feel like this, but since Alex works from home, I mean, we are together all the time. So we actually have to make like extra effort of like, let's go and do this. Let's
Yeah.
go and because I think we just feel like we're spending all the time together. But
No, I would agree. And it's hard because I often associate like, oh, let's go do this, and then that involves spending money, but you don't have to spend money to make memories.
I know
And
I
honestly, I think some of the twins' like favorite things is when we just do something simple, like, okay, we're gonna pull out all the couch cushions and make like a pillow fort and like maybe watch a movie or something like that. Like they still talk about that. And the time that we did that, the very first time was because Nick couldn't really move because his back was hurting really, really badly. And so, like, I was having to parent the whole weekend by myself because he couldn't move. And so we did that so, like, we could be together. And then they still, like, reference, like, oh, do you remember when we made the pillow fort and we watched The Lion King? And so, again,
no,
it
I
doesn't
can
have to
fall into
be
that
expensive.
trap too of like going to do stuff means that you're buying something, you're going to dinner or lunch and kind of a similar thing. We like watched Space Jam the other night and just
Oh, one.
make popcorn and watch a movie, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's great. So it is kind of
Hmm.
like more of like the simple things. I get that.
Yeah. 100%. You also kind of already answered this question, but let's talk about maybe like right now. So it's just the beginning of school year. What does a day in the life look like for you right now? And is there any type of structure that you're holding to each day?
Yeah. So like I said, in the summer, like all hands off, like it was
Yeah.
pretty like Cowboys Indians kind of deal. But
Yeah.
um, so we did start a chore chart, which has been actually really helpful. And they've got like 4 things to do in the morning and 4 at night, and it's as simple, especially because they're about to be 6 and 4, so
Hmm.
young. You have to like brush your teeth,
Hmm.
brush your hair. What was the other one? Make your bed. And a big one for me is putting your PJs behind your pillow,
Oh,
because if not, we will run through PJs like my laundry load size. Like we can wear a couple PJ, the same PJ over and over
yeah.
again. And then it's
Growing
similar.
up, we would do it like every 2 night, like we'd wear it like 2 nights
Yeah.
and we would
Yeah.
put it behind our pillow.
No, because they would it would just like end up on the floor, and then they grab
Yeah.
another one, and then I think at night it was someone cleans the table, someone rounds up all the toys on the downstairs and at least puts them on the stairs. And then kind of the same thing, like brush your hair, put your PJs on. And
Do
honestly,
you pay them for that, or are you teaching, or are you just teaching them that's what you do to be a person?
so my idea, since this is just our second week of doing it,
Yeah.
was they wanted these princess shoes from Walmart. And so I was like, if we do 2 weeks and all your stars are filled out, we can go get these princess shoes from Walmart. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do this like every 2 week we do. I don't
Yeah.
really know because I see so much out there that's like, don't pay your kids. Or I saw something the other day that was like, I make my child pay rent. Have you seen that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I think it's fascinating. Nick and I did an episode like probably a year ago at this point about finances, just like talking about
Yeah.
that. And I've seen I understand the both sides kind of like I think growing like I got $1 a week for allowance and I had like chores that I did, but it was more so of my parents were teaching me like how like a mini way I guess of how to budget. Like every week I'd take a dime to church and that was my tithe. So I knew that like giving 10% back and like
Yeah.
saving and then I look back about how I spent my money on those. They were the tie, not the Beanie Babies, but the bigger ones, like the plush pals or whatever. Like I would go to the Hallmark store and buy those. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
was like 2 weeks. I was being a kid. That's what I was doing. But yeah, I've seen it both ways. I think I saw one just yesterday that was like, pay your kids, so they know like hard work equates to something. But it's also like I like what you're doing. But I think it's like it could be like a balance of this is how you do like to be a person. Like, have you seen those like be a person camp where it's like, here's how you scramble an egg and this is how you tie your shoes and this is how you do a load of laundry and that type of thing. So I don't know. I think you do what works for you, but I
Yeah.
think that you could probably take it and be like, we don't do this every time. That was the way to jumpstart because doesn't it feel good when you do this? Because for us, one thing, we don't have like a chore chart like that, but every time I go to the park, there's a fruit stand, which is very prevalent in California. Like just the guy on the street corner with the fruit, and it's usually delicious fruit, but it's like $10 a pop. And so it's not something we do every single time. So it's kind of like conditioning. Like we don't want to like feed the what's the dopamine or whatever, like getting something new, even though I'm like, I do
Right.
love shopping online, so I totally get it. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to you on that question that I've been insanely taken over.
No, it's hard.
You're
I mean,
doing the Walmart shoes.
I don't really know how to handle it. It's funny, my husband or Alex and I just got back from Boston, and so my grandma and my mom were here watching the girls, and I get back and Carla has like $20 in her like little wallet. And I was like, what is it? And she was like, Nana gave it to me. But my grandma like wants them to do like gymnastics or help them, and she just like bribes them with constant money. And so kind of like your TY Beanie Baby, Carla and I was like, can we go to Hobby Lobby tomorrow? I really want this stuffed animal. And then Alex mentioned to her yesterday, and I think he was kind of kidding, but he was like, no, I think you should invest it. And then she starts crying, and I'm just like, I don't know how to handle anything. I don't know what's right. Should she keep
This
her
is
money? Should she not? I don't know.
This is a side note that I've seen that I haven't done where you take them to the dollar store and they have like $5 and you do it in one so they can like visually see it, but be like, okay, you can pick out anything you want, but it has to be within this. So they have to learn to make the decision of, spending within the budget and also like learning
Yeah.
how to be like, okay, I can't get this today. Maybe I can get it another day. And we do the, if there's something at the store, I'll take a photo of it. They're like, I want this. I'm like, I'll take a photo to remember it. And honestly, I've kind of implemented it for myself too. I have like a note of like things that I want. They're like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
write that down. And then if I still want it later, then, like, but sometimes I go back, I'm like, why did I want that? I don't want that. I'm taking off the list. So it is the self-control exercise. So I think
I
it's a
did.
good mixture of everything.
Yeah, I did think about, because last night I was trying to explain to Carla when she was saying, because of course we've got a bajillion of those big-eyed Beanie Baby stuffies that they love, and that's what she wants. And I was trying to explain to her, like, if you save it, you could, get something bigger. So I actually might like take her to Target and just be like, pick something out that you would want to save up for and actually like save
Yeah.
up. 'Cause I think the word invest, she thinks that Alex is just like, it goes, to the cloud out to, he says like her college fund. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not fun. She doesn't understand that. I
Yeah.
don't even understand that. So I think that, something that they can see and save. Like I
Yeah.
get that.
Or like the, okay, this is $20. What if we save 10 for something you might want later and then you like so it's not like the full like blowing the
Right.
money. So that'd be
Yeah.
good too. So you were talking about it already, but you grew up in the DFW area and then you went to Baylor and Waco, which is where we met. And
Yeah.
then y'all were back in DFW, you got married. And now you're back in Waco. What prompted the move and how are you liking it?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly one day. I vividly remember we're like driving to church. Alex looks at me. He's like, "You're quiet. Like, what's up?" And I was like, "Are we gonna?" We lived in Prosper, Salina, which is like
Yeah.
North
Yeah.
Dallas. And I was like, "Are we gonna die here? Like, are we gonna?" Like, this is what we're like playing. And it could have been like kindergarten coming up or whatever. But it is one of those things, because I do think that there is something to be said about kids staying in the same school. It doesn't have to be starting in kindergarten, but you kind of
Yeah.
start thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, is this it? Like, is this where we're gonna be? And we had purchased some land in downtown Waco
Yeah.
that we planned to build an Airbnb on, and so we already had that. We actually were under contract for the one next door, which is still not closed. But then it's just started prompted the idea of like, well, what if we move to Waco? And it was honestly close to homecoming, and so a couple weeks later, we were like, well, let's. My in-laws actually live in Waco too, because she's a professor. And I
Hmm.
was like, well, she'll watch the kids, and we'll go look at houses. And so we just went and drove around and found a neighborhood, and we were like, we could live here. And so we kind of like started that process, and it was really on a whim. Like we had great community up in Salina, and we have great friends up there. So everyone was a little confused, but it was honestly, I can say that, and we've only been here, I guess, a little over 6 months, but it's been the best thing that we could have done. And
I love
you
that.
might have a similar. I know you moved for Nick's job, but is that right? Y'all moved to California, but you left all your family, like all my family's in Dallas too, and they were confused. But
Yeah, to my mother's dismay. She looked at Nick and was like, "You said that you would never leave for California and that you loved Texas." And he was like,
right,
"I know I said it." But it was very much on a whim too for us.
yeah,
Because I had lost my job. It was July of 2019. We had a trip planned for July 4th, and we had friends who were out here. Nick's sister at the time lived here. Actually, his entire family lived in California when we were trying to move. And it was on a whim of like, oh, well, my background's apparel. He's in tech. He can get a job anywhere. And he had a job offer within 3 weeks. And no one
yeah,
would talk to me until I got here and had a LA address, which I'm sure like people all over want to work in LA for a fashion company. So I totally get it. But
right,
yeah, it was very much on a whim. And it felt more, moving felt more permanent like before I moved because I know we moved here so quickly and just God lined everything up. Uh, and I know we could do other things. So I kind of just have an open hand of like, I don't know how long we'll be here. We like
yeah.
it right now. There are things I obviously don't like. I wish I was closer to my family for lots of reasons, but it was very much on a whim that we moved here, which is kind of crazy.
You
Kind of
guys,
crazy.
do you guys think you'll stay there, die there, or like
I
you
don't
just
know.
want out? Or
I don't know. It's I mean, it's California's an expensive state. We like to live on the west side and closer to the water because we say if we're gonna be here, we should be by the water.
which is
And
like,
if we wanted to go where it was cheaper and hotter, we'd go back to Texas. And actually, it's not. Texas is still, I would say, affordable in a lot of ways, but it's not as affordable as it once was.
yeah,
Just especially they get you with, the property taxes. We don't have that here, but obviously, I don't know. We live in a condo. I wish I had a washing machine and a dryer and a central AC every single day. But there are things that I like too. So yeah, I
you
don't know.
don't have AC.
I don't know if we're gonna live and die here forever.
Did you
We'll
even say
see.
you don't have AC?
We have a window unit and then we have two um like units, like I guess it's called a window unit too because it hooks up outside of the window.
I'm sure that's
But
pretty
no,
standard in California.
yeah, yeah. Just because generally there's, good weather and people can leave the doors open, but it also gets toasty here. Especially I mean, I would say there's more central AC in the valley, and we again are not in the valley. Um, but I remember when I first moved, like our first apartment, just the sun hit it just right and it was so hot. We did not have a window unit in there and they would not allow us to put one in because they said it would like trip the entire circuit breaker, whatever that the whole complex was on.
Right.
And so they already, for some reason, didn't like us, so we didn't want to get more on their bad side. And so I would literally have a like a Lowe's Home Depot bucket that I would fill with ice and water and sit at the kitchen table with my legs in it because that was around that time was March of 2020. So we were staying indoors and it was
Yeah.
so it was had like a weirdly like a hot like an early hot flash in Southern California that year. And it was so hot and we'd go sit in our car and turn the AC on. So I had friends in Texas that were like, "Oh, you've gone soft." And like, "No, you have central AC. I
No,
do
you
not."
go inside. Yes.
Yeah. Um, but speaking of like we travel and stuff like that, it's wild to me that people will go like I still meet people who will travel to Texas and only go to Waco and it's for fixer uppers,
Yeah.
which whenever I committed to going to Baylor, I was basically made fun of in high school because I was like, I was gonna go live in Waco, and so it was like the very much like pre Fixer Upper, pre RG3 era, even though we were there when he was there. But that being said, I have very fond memories of Waco. And so, what are your Waco must-dos? Maybe like something to eat and something to do.
Yeah. The Fixer Upper thing is wild. Magnolia is just blown up. But I will say that while Magnolia brings in a ton of people and Chip and Joe bring in a ton of people, the downtown area like has just, I mean, we have like a Tacova store. Like who would have ever thought there's a Mac makeup store, just things that you would have never thought. I mean, because we didn't go to school that long ago, what, almost 10 years? But still, it's like now there's even districts. So there's Silo District, the River District, the basketball stadium is now like on the river, and so all these plans for all these restaurants on the river, like it's gonna be just beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would
and
say,
we when we went there also, the stadium wasn't where it is now. So
yeah,
yeah, it was a very different time.
yeah, no, it is, and I think people used to, and I would say downtown Waco used to probably not be like the safest area to be. I remember we had a couple friends. I don't think you ever lived on the other side of the highway, but we
No,
had
I didn't.
friends that lived over there in that new apartment complex, and it was like, why
Yeah,
would you
but
live?
Megan's husband Randy lived over there on that,
Yeah,
and I think actually did Megan live over there at one point? I don't know. But
Daisy
yeah,
lived
no,
over there too.
yeah.
Um, but now there's the amount of student housing on the River District right next to the basketball stadium. I don't know. When's the last time you were in Waco? Recently?
Um, yeah, we've driven through more recently because we went to a wedding in Austin in April of this year, but we took the twins to homecoming 2022.
Okay, so yeah, you've been like recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's completely different.
it's so different. And I would say it's actually becoming like a pretty decent, like walkable city.
Yeah, which it
Um,
wasn't. We had to take the bus to the football
yeah,
stadium
yeah.
or find parking in the
Right.
lot, in the
I would
field.
say one of my favorite restaurants, we actually just went for the first time a couple weeks ago. It's called the Red Herring, and you walk in and you're like, am I in Dallas? Am I in LA? Like it's really cool.
Okay, where is
Um,
it?
It's downtown,
Okay.
um, and it's actually a bunch of like old storage containers, and
Oh, cute.
it's a boutique hotel. The Red Herring is the restaurant next to the hotel.
Okay.
And if you go all the way, they have a rooftop bar. There's like a couple of rooftop bars in
Did you
Dallas.
post it? Maybe I saw you post it.
I think I did post it. Lucky Bucks is the rooftop bar that's really
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
And it actually like overlooks like the silo area.
Yeah.
Another great restaurant is the hotel that Chip and Joe just built, the
Oh,
1929, and they have a rooftop bar, which is like amazing.
wasn't, but was there was a restaurant called like 1929 or something whenever we were there?
Is
Because I
that,
had the surprise graduation party there.
isn't it like 14 something?
Yeah, yeah. But it
Oh,
was really
it's
good.
still there. It's a restaurant,
Yeah,
14
yeah.
something.
It's a long whiles away from our Scruffy Murphys and I don't know. I still whenever I drive through I like to go to Taco Zacatecas of La Salle.
Yes.
Um
Yeah.
and then if I have time I probably go to George's. But
I don't know.
those
Did
are
you ever eat? This is, I think, I told Alex, I think of this all the time, and I'm so sad. Did you go to, oh my gosh, what was it called? with the nachos and the stuffed avocados.
Yeah,
Uh,
Terry and Joe's, or
yeah, Terry was the owner. Why can't I
yeah.
think of what this place was called?
It was right there
The old
by
HEB.
for lack of a better term, what we all called it was the ghetto heap that isn't there anymore.
Not there anymore.
Food for
Yeah,
thought. Food for thought.
food for thought. Yeah, it's not there anymore. So sad. I would eat that all the time if it was still there.
The nachos were so good.
I know.
Yeah, that's
And
so
then I would
sad.
say like shops in Waco, you can one of my favorite places to take the girls. They think it's the library. It's not. You have to pay for the books. It's called Fabled. It's the cutest.
Fabled.
Uh-huh. And
Okay.
it's the cutest bookstore. And they've got, I mean, it's just beautiful. They have a huge coffee shop in the front of it. You can get wine and stuff there. It's really cool. And I
Oh,
would
the
say
other place we always stop by is Dichotomy because Nick always likes to get the coffee there. And I know you can
dichotomy.
get drinks there too, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, I would say Waco's got so many
Yeah.
coffee shops, so many just
Yeah.
like honestly, there's a couple dive bars downtown that are really cool. And then I mean the stores, it really has like again, Magnolia, I would say it's probably like the heart of it all, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a
when
lot to do.
we had Spice Village and Hearts and Crafts, and I'm trying to think there was one more. I don't know. I know Hearts and Crafts isn't there anymore. But and you can't I never like would really get the drinks at Common Grounds, but it's always sentimental to me.
Yep, and there's two now. There's
Yeah,
one
I saw.
more towards Woodway.
I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but I saw it on Facebook or
Mhm.
whatever. That really dazed me. I saw it on Facebook. So you created your new account, Things in My Home, this year, so not even really 6 months ago. It's brand new, but it's also feels so normal for you. And it has me like thinking like, why didn't you do it sooner? What prompted you to make the account? Because it's really just a no-brainer for you, I feel like.
Oh, that's super nice. I feel like I'm just winging it. But um, so when we moved down to Waco, I gave the balloon company that we were doing, I gave it to my sister just to do in
Hmm.
Dallas because we weren't going to do it down here because we do
Hmm.
have some real estate stuff and then we
Yeah,
ended up buying the shotgun house and whatnot. But
yeah.
um, I had a lot of friends when this house was a new build, and I had a lot of friends reaching out, just being like, "Can you post more of your house, more of like the things that
Yeah,
you're
it's
buying for your
beautiful.
house?" And I just kind of felt weird posting it on my personal account, being like, "This is my home," or these are the things I'm buying. So I was like, I'm just gonna create another account. It originally was just kind of for these particular friends that wanted to
Yeah,
see more of it. And then honestly, it's kind of a creative outlet, like
yeah.
especially from like the real perspective or any of that. And then when you start kind of getting into the weeds of it, I was like, you actually could make this into kind of like a business and a little
Hmm.
like side thing.
Yeah,
And so, it's very small, but I do enjoy doing it.
yeah.
And it's kind of interesting too now that we have the shotgun house
Hmm.
downtown and managing that Instagram too. And so I'm like, it should have been things in my homes, which is us, to be able to post what we're doing there. But I'm trying to, the best way to like integrate it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
would love to get your opinion on that eventually. But yeah.
yeah. Hold on, there was something else I was gonna say, and I lost it. Oh, I was gonna say that, yeah, you're already doing these things. That's why I thought it felt like a no-brainer. It's not like a performative thing for you for Instagram. Like you're just videoing what you were already would have been doing, whether it be like building something or like a painting or something like that. It's all very real, and so that's why another reason again why I wanted to have you on here is just because it's all real. It's not fake, which I think there's nothing wrong with being performative for Instagram, if especially if that's your job, but I like the realness that you bring. I think it is Things in My Homes available. I don't
I don't know.
because some I know you can change and or at least you used to be able to change it like once, where you could change the name, but I think that you could just honestly list the tags of or the handles of your properties in the
would. Yeah.
bio.
Because now too, you can
Or
collaborate, which I did that on a
yes,
reel where you
yes.
can kind of like cross it and it ends up on both. So
Hmm.
I think it's one of those things. I think it's even like starting an account, like something new is always daunting, and then you start doing it and it becomes so normal that it's always a bigger deal in your mind, right? Like it's
Yeah.
very easy
Yep.
to get started.
Yep. No, I think that it's probably where Things in My Home will be where you put everything, and then sometimes you collaborate on the other one, so it doesn't always make sense to have it on the other account. But yeah, no, I think you could just put it in the bio, or do like the pinned post at the top if you want to like highlight a specific property or
Right,
whatever, so
right.
people know that it's yours.
And kind of what you
Um,
said too, it was one of those things where, like, you already said this, but I was like, if I'm already going to be buying stuff, if I'm already going to be cleaning my living room, like, I can just set up a tripod and video it or share it.
mhm.
And why
Yeah.
not?
And I will say something that you're not saying, is that you can video, like if you are listening to this, like, oh, I want to create an account and I just want people to be aware. You can video all of that and then it still sits in your drafts. You have to actually post it. And I say that because I have so many drafts that I have, created over the last 2 years since the twins were here, and they're just, I don't know if they're ever going to be seen. So I'm like, no, I got to post it right now. But even like my sister who doesn't have kids, um, you can get in that Instagram post paralysis. Like she went, I think, for like 6 months or so, where she didn't post. She like went backtracked, and like we took her with us to London and Paris last year to help with the twins. And she was like, I think just posted those pictures like a couple weeks ago type of thing. She wanted to do it. She just went on another trip to Portugal and Morocco and wanted to like be able to post that, real time. And so it can be daunting. And if you let it pile up, like I'm currently letting all of my children's baby pictures pile up, it can be daunting, but you just
Yeah.
have to do it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I would encourage anyone to like just post. Like,
Hmm,
I don't
hmm.
think like you said, like with the paralysis, like we can get so in our head of like, I don't want to be annoying, or
Yeah.
I like don't want people to think certain things, and you kind of just have to be. And I would even say like start a separate account. Don't put it on
Yeah.
your personal. Like if people want to follow you, they'll follow you, and if they don't, you'll unfollow. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you felt this way, which you have more followers, but mine's smaller to where I can like see when stuff drops off or whatnot. And I mean, it's so easy to be like, wow, I wonder what I said that was annoying or whatnot, but it just doesn't matter, like in the
I
grand.
think that it bothers me way less than it used to, because I was doing it during the age of Instagram where you posted and you got 600 likes for no reason, and it may not have even been a good photo per se, but then they changed everything and then you were left feeling horrible because you're like, wow, I went from 600 likes to 60 likes. And it just, likes don't mean what they used to anymore. Brands look more at saves and like converting. So, and I think also people went through a thing where they stopped liking things, or they felt like they were helping. I don't know, that reverse psychology of like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to like her things. I just want to see them type deal. Not me. I'm not talking about me specifically, but just like in general with the whole Instagram culture. And I think with TikTok, it's helped it a little bit come back to being more just um, natural posting. Like I was looking the other day of like, oh, what was my first Instagram post ever? Because I learned about it when I was at Baylor. And I remember being in the art building, and I learned about it from Rebecca. I was with Rebecca and Callie in our sorority, and she was like, look at this new app I found. It's a photo editing app. And she was like one of their birthdays or something. And she took a picture of the cake and like was going through the filters
Yeah.
and like post it. And my first Instagram post, which is still on the page that I use today, just because that's kind of how it worked out, were two gummy bears, a green one and a yellow one. I sound like a sicko. So that was my first Instagram post ever. And I think we went through this really beautiful editorial, everything has to look perfect stage, and TikTok kind of brought that down, which I think is
Yeah.
more relatable. But overall, Instagram's a highlight reel. And so it, I don't know, just that can be bad if you don't want to see everybody's highlights, but that's what the mute button's for. So,
Right.
not everybody's going to like everything that you do. And I think the sooner that you know that, the easier it will be, especially if you're planning on having a presence online.
Right.
Since your handle is things in my home slash homes, what is your favorite part of your home right now?
I probably have like a two-part answer. So
Okay.
I
That's
really
allowed.
am.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Um, I feel like I am a big corner gal. So
Mm-hmm.
or like I like to be able to, I like look at space as like a corner and like how to like put it together. And so
Mm.
honestly, every corner that I have a plant right now is probably my favorite.
Oh, I love
Uh,
that answer.
like a
What's your
plant.
favorite? What's your favorite thing in your home right now, or something that you're obsessing over? So, the corner is the spot, and obviously you just had plants. Is there something that you are loving right now, whether it's an item or furniture or something like that? What's your favorite thing in your home?
It's kind of boring, but I love my vacuum cleaners.
What vacuum cleaners do you have?
We have the Tenco.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like the one that vacuums and mops at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like a handheld Dyson for animal hair. And we have two
Uh-huh.
labs.
Yeah.
So I'm just vacuuming a lot.
Do you do
And
that every day?
I do that every day, sometimes
Okay.
twice a day. Yeah,
Okay.
just because if you don't, like, you just see like a little like tumbleweed across the floor and feel kind of
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
But not, I guess not like cleaning product. Favorite piece in my house. We haven't really finished it, but we have like our dining room table that we bought, and yeah, I don't know. Things feel kind of funny. We just redid our office, which is like beautiful. And my sister walked in the other day, and because the office is it's directly across from the dining room. And she was like, there's your husband's room, and there's your room. And his is like decked out, right? And we just have a table in the dining room. It'll happen eventually, but yeah.
What is next on your wish list for your home of something you're wanting to buy but aren't buying just yet?
Yeah, probably dining room chairs.
Dining room chairs.
Yeah, no, it's just a table. But I will say I'm one of those people that I don't just like buy to fill a space. Like I would rather wait and like get what we want versus like buy something just to fill it and then in a year be like, no, I want something else. So
What, so what
we
are you
just
sitting on right now?
which chairs?
Yeah. Are they just pull out like foldable chairs? Like what are you how are you not eating at the dining table?
No, literally, we don't use the room. Yeah,
Okay.
just a table. We have like a kitchen table like in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, okay, got it. Understood.
No, this is
I
more of just like if we were to have people over, we don't have
yes.
enough chairs at the kitchen table. You know, have to sit at the bar. So in the next couple months or weeks, like we will have to get chairs, especially with holidays coming up.
Yeah.
But again, like when you move into a new home, I mean, it's expensive, right? So you kind of have
Yeah.
to like pick and choose like what you're gonna do and whatnot.
Well, and I think that's great also to I love that you like wait to find something that you love because I think that that is a way to minimize, you know, wait like consumption, like fast consumption of things just because when you wait, you usually find something that you love and you find it like it's great quality. And I think it's also normalizing like people you see on Instagram people who like have a home and they literally furnish the entire thing, which is great for them. Nothing wrong with that, but it's I wouldn't say it's normal for
I
you to
would,
be able to just go ahead and just like fill every room of the home exactly what you want it to look like to perfection. And so I think that's just
yeah.
normalizing it, which is great. Is there anything you want to share or any special projects you're working on that will be on your social soon?
Probably the biggest project would probably be the Shotgun House Waco, just because it was on Fixer Upper 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and the original owners have run it as an Airbnb probably the past 6 years, and they haven't really touched it, which is fine. It looks exactly how it did on the show, but we actually recently just like repainted the whole thing inside. The upstairs was just like a loft with nothing there, so we're like making that a bedroom right now. So I feel like our personal home probably is on hold for a little bit just on
Mm,
like projects,
yeah.
but so that'll probably be like our biggest one. For our, I guess if I say one for our personal home would probably be the dining room.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel. I would love to wallpaper a few rooms, like even if it's bathrooms. I just think it's so cute.
So I think you should do what you want to do always and never follow the trends because I say that and it's relevant because my mom loves wallpaper and has had wallpaper my entire life and there was the time where it went out and now it's back in. So if you love it, you should do it. My mom still has wallpaper and I like
Does she have
wallpaper.
it? Does she have like give me a couple rooms that she has it in?
It's in the guest bathroom for sure. I'm trying to remember the other places that she has it. It's like a yellow, I can see it. It's a
Uh-huh.
yellow wallpaper in the guest bathroom. Where else did she put it? Maybe that's all it is. Uh, because maybe it was also somewhere else and then they tiled it. But
Yeah.
she definitely has it, or she's gonna be like, Lauren, we changed that. But I remember
Mhm.
it also just because one of the first fights my parents ever got in, like after they got married, was wallpapering, and they wallpapered together, and it was just not very fun for them to
So
do.
what did I try? When did I try and wallpaper something? when was that? I don't know. Recently, I felt like I did some kind of wallpaper project. I can't even remember. But I was like, I will be hiring someone to do this because it does not, I wallpapered under the stairs, the peel and stick for the
Yeah.
girls' little, like secret hideout.
Yeah.
No, won't be doing my bathrooms because it's like more difficult than you think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So how can people find you online? If they want to find you, where do they go?
yeah, so my Instagram account for the personal home is Things in My Home.
I'll put it in the show notes too. And do
Yeah.
you want to share your properties? You can send me the links. I can post them too if you want.
Yeah, I
Maybe of
can't.
this show.
The only property that's like you can stay at right now is the Shotgun House Waco. And that's just like in the heart of Waco, and it's walkable to the silos. It's a great location. And it'll eventually, in the next couple weeks, sleep 4. So that's a great place. There's so many great Airbnbs downtown too, but
We're not promoting other people, Ken. We're promoting you.
sorry. Oh, I'll just say that. And then
I know
eventually-
you love Waco.
I know, right? Eventually we'll have, around the corner we own 2 lots over there. So eventually we
Yeah.
could have more. So
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, Kim. It was so fun to have you. And I'm excited to see where Things in My Home maybe takes you.
love you. Thanks for having me
Love you.
on.
Bye.
Boy, girl, mom, and dad. Gotta wash those butts together. It's a trip, but we'll guide you through with tips and tricks for boys and girls too.